True sports, for them to do well, they need to shift from focusing on what they cannot do to what they can do.
From having this conversation with you, there seems to be a very strong link between sports and personal development or growth of an individual. Can you elaborate a little bit more in terms of how that cohesiveness comes together and how people should see it from their point of view?
If I were to talk about the link between personal development through sports and how it can be applied to other pursuits, I can be looking at it from the perspective of a psychology coach or a sports coach. I play both roles as a psychologist and a sports coach. So I'll start with sports coach. I coach a team of persons with visual impairment. So a lot of times they have this thinking that, I'm not saying all, they tend to be focused on what they cannot do. We can't exactly blame them also, because once you lose your sight, everybody around you is telling you about what you cannot do. Don't do this, don't do that. Otherwise you will fall, otherwise you will hurt yourself, otherwise worse still you may offend somebody if you ask too much questions, ask too much instructions. And through sports, for them to do well, they need to shift from focusing on what they cannot do to what they can do, and make full use of what they can do to overcome the challenges of competitive sport. Now this same thinking, letting go of what I cannot control and to focus on what I can control to overcome challenges, this is something that they can learn through sport, and I begin to see how they apply the same thinking skills in their personal lives. I will expand further. I have this particular player who could not travel around in public transport on her own. As she began to focus on what she can control, she began to think about, hey, I can open my mouth to ask for help. I can ask somebody, may I know what's this bus number? I can use apps to figure out which bus is coming, and I can learn how to better use my cane to navigate. These are all things that I can control, that are within my control. And when she began to focus on things that are within her control, she now can travel to training on her own. So these are some of the skills that they have learned through sport. I'll move on to examples that I have come across as a psychologist. I work with athletes, competitive athletes, ranging from those who are competing at the school level to those competing at the Olympics. Many of them have retired, and they can be now teachers, they can be now bankers, and the same thinking skills that they have learned have helped them in their daily lives also, in their professions. For example, to meet a financial target, you are already inevitably you're going to meet with some setbacks. And the same thinking skills that help them to let go of disappointments and to refocus on the bite-sized goals, we call them process goals, that will help them to inch closer to their financial goals. These are the same skills that are applicable in both contexts.